Hello everybody, this is Carlos Manuel de la Cruz and this is my presentation for practices in bilingual learning environments. For this subject, I am trying to solve this important task of identifying diverse pedagogical practices, environments, and recognize the difference of the pedagogical practice from different learning environments. Let me introduce you with my educative institution. The Eleazar Libreros Salamanca institution is located in the municipality of Andalusia, Valle del Cauca department, between two topographical zones, one flat to the west that is part of the Cauca River Basin, and the other to the east, corresponding to the central mountain range. The institution has a management team made up of a principal and 5 different coordinators. In turn, it has 5 different venues, all of them being urban, which carry out the educational process during the day shift. In relation to the official documents, which constitute the strategic and academic growth of the educational institution, emphasizing what is related to the processes of strengthening communication skills in English, the following aspects are identified to be highlighted. First of all, we have to talk about a pedagogical model. The educative institution adopts a flexible pedagogical model which is oriented to open and comprehensive methodologies that allow the development of conventional and non-conventional learning processes according to the needs and particularities of each educational community in curricular, pedagogical, and didactic terms. Therefore, this process allows the construction of knowledge from different transversal proposals to reference in education. The institution also intends to be recognized at the regional level for its investigative processes based on its pedagogical model, which highlights the training of individuals with excellent technical, academic, and human skills, which allow them to be competent in their work and social performance. Taking into account the above, the bilingual proposal for the project is articulated to the performances in communicative competences, favoring the teaching processes in English as a foreign language, since the educative institution envisions the development of competences and abilities that enhance the effectiveness of its graduates in the labor and social field. Now talking about the general objective that is tried to be accomplished or carried out in this subject, we have to say that this is to develop a comprehensive training considering the different dimensions of the human being, the processes, thought processes, and language standards to promote the development of communication skills. And talking about the specific objectives of this particular subject, we have to talk that they are to promote the learning of the English language in the transition, primary, and secondary students of this institution, providing a series of tools that allow them to function in the global society. The next objective is to adapt the institutional English program to the sociological and anthropological realities of the students of this community or the Andalusian community for their appropriation of educational policies through proposals for comprehensive projects. And finally, we have to think about establishing general contents of the English subject for transition, primary, and secondary students in a correct, dynamic, and participatory manner in order to enhance communication skills in students or among students. Now, talking about the methodological principles that are carried out or included in this institution, we have to talk about these ones. First of all, in the school Eleazar de Salamanca, from the structuring of the English area, we have established the adoption of a series of methodological principles, aligned from the suggested English curriculum for the foreign language teaching learning process, which will guide practices and the educational work for teachers in the interaction with their students. First of all, we have to talk about these different methodological aspects: the experimental learning, the task-based learning, and the project-based learning, and of course the problem-based learning. Each one of them have different characteristics, different elements that we need to include or that we carry out in our different processes while teaching English. And we also have to talk about the inclusion of elements appropriated from the Ministry of Education, which are suggestions or the bilingual policies or the different bilingual policies that we have to carry out, like for example including textbooks that we take into account in the design of our different processes or learning outcomes. Finally, we have to talk about the different evaluative principles that are carried out in this institution, and we have to say that the evaluation of the student in the Eleazar Libreros Salamanca institution will have the following characteristics, taking into account the system adopted by the educational laws from the Ministry of National Education, the processes and the institutional identity, and finally the parameters determined in the institutional curriculum. First of all, we take into account that this is continuous. That means that it is carried out permanently based on a follow-up that allows assessing the progress and difficulties that may arise in the training process. We also have or take into account that this is comprehensive, that this is participatory, that this is formative, and that this is summative. All of them rely or apply different characteristics of evaluation. And it I have come to an end with the presentation. Thank you very much.